Good morning, everybody. I hope you are starting this beautiful day in sunshine. It always uplifts me in the morning when I look out the window and everything is beautiful. So, today we're going to be continuing talking about how decisions are so important. And yesterday we covered indecision, and this morning we're going to be talking about the twin of indecision. That's what Napoleon Hill calls it, which is procrastination. And I'm sure you know plenty of people who are great procrastinators. So now I'm going to pass you over to Marie Pierre because she is going to give you advice on who you should share this to this morning. Over to you, Marie Pierre.
Yes, so it's time to share the podcast everywhere so we can make sure that everyone that can see it. I will put the text in the comment right now so you can copy paste it when you share on social media so the people know why they should listen to the podcast. But also, you can see that when you click on the arrow to share it, you can send it by messenger or text message. So if you have someone in mind that really needs to hear the podcast this morning, that's the best way to do it. So make sure that you send it by messenger or text message. And then we have our contest, Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So first, when you go on our Facebook group, Les Millionnaires des Diamants Inspirational Group, every time you post, every time you react, you gain or you comment, you gain point during the month to be in the top 10 contributor of the group. And at the end of the month, the official top 10 will get a voucher to go shop on the boutique Les Millionnaires des Diamants. And then we have a draw at the end of each month. To be in the draw, there's two ways. First, with the boutique Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So when you go and you place your order, when you receive your order, you take a picture and you post on social media and you tag Les Millionnaires des Diamants. And the second way is with the books Les Millionnaires des Diamants. So same kind. So you just receive one of the book, you take a picture, you're reading one of the book, you can take another picture, you're doing one of the quiz book, you take a picture, you're doing one of the workbook, you take a picture, you're using your agenda Les Millionnaires des Diamants, you can have another picture. So every day you can have a new picture to post on social media and always tag Les Millionnaires des Diamants so you can be in the draw at the end of the month. And last thing, if you don't already have your ticket, you still have time to get your ticket to be with us for the next conference. So make sure that you click on the link and you get your ticket. Even if you cannot be with us during the conference, it's okay because you can watch it in replay too. But you need your ticket to receive the link to watch it in replay. So register so you make sure that you don't miss anything. And for those that want to be in person, I still have some place. So when you get your ticket, send me a message and I will add you to the list of people that will be with us in person in the studio. Voila.
Okay, thank you, Marie Pierre. And yes, I was talking to somebody on FAM last night, and she told me she'd just registered today, which was yesterday, of course. So it is definitely not too late. Maybe you didn't register early because you weren't sure whether you would be available. But don't worry about that because with the link, you can go and listen to it anytime. So today we are going to be looking at something, as Hill says, is the twin to indecision, which is procrastination. And I think it's fair to say that every one of us procrastinates sometimes. I certainly do. For me, it's usually because I don't want to work. I want to do something else. It's because also, no, it's not usually for me because I don't want to work. It's usually for me because I like to think about things a long time before I begin writing about them. So, whether it's a conference, a training session, or one of these podcasts, I spend a great deal of time turning over ideas in my mind before I ever put words on paper. But we all know as well, when as soon as we start to put words on paper, generally things flow really well and we get the job done. And it was never as bad as we thought it was going to be. As long as I know the subject well in advance, that system works well for me. But when I get a topic and it arrives the day before and I have to quickly work with it, often I find that I'm like working to the last minute to the deadline because I still have to allow a little bit of time to think about it. So There are those jobs also that I simply don't enjoy doing. For those, I have another strategy. I'm sure many of my Tupperware colleagues will know about those things, sending messages, talking about recruiting, remembering to do other jobs that perhaps we find um, take us out of our comfort zone too much. And often we'll procrastinate with those, and the only way I stop myself procrastinating to the point of not doing it is by giving myself a reward. And so I'll say, okay, when I've done this, I can go and read for half an hour. When I've done this, I can get some ice cream. Like whatever you work out for you, that those are the sort of strategies I have. So I have something pleasant waiting for me at the end. I also remember a wonderful message that Maria taught me. One evening, she phoned me, and which was unusual, and she asked, "Are you busy?" I said I wasn't, and she said, "Would I join her on Zoom?" So of course I said sure. And when I arrived, she said, "Okay, Melanie, I don't need you to do anything. You can do what you like." As long as you don't make any noise. And I just want you to sit here with me on the Zoom. And sort of when I looked a bit puzzled, she says, "Well, I've got this presentation I have to do, and the organizers are really hounding me now to get it. I've been putting it off and putting it off, and now I have to do it. And I want you to be here with me to make sure that I get it done so that I don't get distracted by something else and that I focus on what this is." So, that is a neat trick because what that does is that makes you accountable. That makes you actually have to focus on what you're doing, because she said, "And at the end, I want you to ask me about it." So she could sort of prove that she'd done it. And, we all appreciate when we have somebody who can help us get things done. And it was as simple as me sitting on Zoom with her in silence while she worked and made sure that she met the deadline. However, why do people procrastinate? And there are lots of people that do that, and they do it for different reasons. One of the fascinating discoveries in psychology is that procrastination is not always caused by the same thing. Two people may delay exactly the same task, but for completely different reasons. One person procrastinates because they're afraid of failure. They think, "What if I can't do this well enough? What if people don't like it? What if I embarrass myself?" For these people, perfectionism often becomes the enemy of progress. The brain would rather avoid the possibility of failure than risk trying. Another person procrastinates because they're overwhelmed. Their task seems enormous. The brain doesn't know where to begin, so instead of choosing the first step, it chooses no step at all. Psychologists sometimes call this analysis paralysis. The brain keeps thinking instead of doing. Other people procrastinate because the reward seems too far away. This is especially true in a business like ours. Making 10 recruiting calls today doesn't necessarily produce a recruit today. Building a VIP group today may not produce significant sales until months later because the reward is delayed. The brain then naturally asks, "Why should I do this now?" This is one reason why people often choose activities with immediate rewards instead. Scrolling through social media, watching television, cleaning the kitchen. Even though those activities don't move us any closer to our goals, we feel like we're doing something and getting something, and we keep delaying what we need to do. One way of understanding procrastination is to imagine the two parts of your brain are having a conversation. The prefrontal cortex, the logical planning part of the brain, says, "This presentation needs to be finished this week. These recruiting calls need to be made. I should exercise today." But another part of the brain, the limbic system, is much more interested in how we feel right now. It says, "That presentation feels difficult. Those recruiting calls might involve rejection. Exercise sounds uncomfortable." So it suggests something much easier. "Let's do it tomorrow." The problem is, tomorrow, the exactly same conversation begins again. The logical brain is thinking about the future. The emotional brain is thinking about the present. Procrastination is often the emotional brain winning that argument. Have you ever noticed that many people suddenly become incredibly productive the day before a deadline? Even if it's something as silly as packing a suitcase. Like, you can leave, people often ask me, "Have you done your suitcases for Australia?" I never do them until the day before. And then I get to Australia and realize I've forgotten something. So that's procrastination. I know it, and I certainly recognize it in myself. That happens because another brain system becomes involved. As the deadline approaches, urgency increases, adrenaline rises. The brain suddenly believes the task has become important enough to deserve immediate attention. Ironically, the same person who avoided the task for 3 weeks may complete it in 3 hours. The ability was always there. The urgency simply overpowered the avoidance. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could create the same urgency before the last minute? That is exactly what successful people learn to do. They create artificial deadlines. They schedule work. They ask somebody to keep them accountable. They don't wait until panic forces them into action. There is another factor that psychologists have discovered. The way we speak to ourselves matters enormously. Imagine someone who continually says, "I'm terrible at finishing things. I've always been a procrastinator. That's just the way I am." The brain begins to treat the statement as part of our identity. Our behavior starts matching what we believe about ourselves. But imagine changing the language slightly. "I'm someone who is learning to start sooner. I'm becoming someone who follows through." Now the brain begins building a different identity. Small changes in identity often produce big changes in behavior. So, what can we actually do? Science suggests several simple strategies. First, make the first step ridiculously small. Don't tell yourself, "I'm going to write a presentation." Tell yourself, "I'm going to write the first paragraph." Second, work for just 10 minutes. Once we started, the brain usually wants to continue. Getting started is often the hardest part. Third, remove distractions before you begin. Put the phone away. Close unnecessary windows on your computer. Make it easier to concentrate. Fourth, find an accountability partner, exactly as Maria did with me on the Zoom. Sometimes simply knowing someone else knows, sometimes simply knowing that someone else knows what we're doing is enough to keep us moving. And finally, reward progress. That's what I do. The brain loves rewards. Celebrate each small victory. Every completed step releases a little dopamine, and that dopamine makes the next step easier. And now I'm going to pass you over to Marie Pierre, who will help us discover what sort of procrastinators are we.
I love it. Thank you, Melanie. So yes, we continue with the quiz because we understand now that procrastination is one of the greatest silent killer of your success because it's still something that we can never get back. Time. So today, the reflection is not about feeling guilty. Of course not. But it's about discovering where procrastination may be quietly stealing your future. So we want to answer honestly because we want to see what are our intention when it comes with the procrastination, so we can change this when we want to grow. So you want to choose the answer that sounds most like you, not just based on what you would like to do. So answer based on your habit that you have right now. So you can answer A, B, or C this morning for every question. So let's start with question number one. So you have an important task that needs to be done. So do you A, start as soon as possible, B, prepare first and then begin, or C, you keep finding reason to wait? Question number two. You need to make an important phone call. So do you A, make it, B, think about what you'll say first, or C, you keep putting it off? Question number three. Now you decide to improve your health. Do you A, begin today, B, start within the next few days, or C, usually wait for Monday or next month or the perfect time? Question number four. When a task feels difficult, do you A, break it into smaller steps, B, think about how to approach it, or C, you avoid it? Question number five. When you see that your to-do list is long, do you A, begin with the most important task, B, start with an easier task to build momentum, or C, you often feel overwhelmed and do very little? Question number six. Now someone gives you an exciting opportunity. So do you A, take action quickly, B, you take a little time to prepare, or C, you hesitate until the opportunity is gone? Question number seven. How do you feel at the end of the day? A, I usually feel that I complete what matters most. B, that I made some progress. Or C, I often wonder where the day went. Question number eight. When you don't feel motivated, do you A, act anyway? B, try to regain motivation first? Or C, usually wait until motivation will return? Question number nine. You have a project that takes longer than expected. So do you A, keep moving forward, B, slow down but continue, or C, often stop altogether? Question number 10. When you look back over the past year, do you A, you've taken many meaningful action, B, you've made some progress, or C, you've postponed more than you would like? So did you get mostly A's, mostly B's, or mostly C's? So if you have mostly A, you are the action taker. So you understand that action creates clarity. So you don't wait until everything is perfect. You begin, you adjust, you learn. And so you want to keep protecting that habit, but just remember to balance action with reflection. So you're climbing the right mountain, not just climbing fast enough. If you have now mostly B, you are the preparer. So your preparation is one of your strengths. So you like to think before acting, and that often helps you make the wise decision. But the danger comes when preparation quietly turns into procrastination. So sometimes the best way to learn isn't another plan, but it's taking the first step. Progress is built through action, not endless preparation. And if you have mostly C, you are the delayer. So you probably have a great idea, good intention, meaningful dream. The challenge isn't your ability. The challenge is beginning. So remember, every successful person that you admire once stood exactly where you are right now. So the difference is that they acted before they felt completely ready. So your future isn't waiting for the perfect timing, it's waiting for you to take the first step. So take that first step. So, 5 daily practice to overcome procrastination. Number one, follow the 5 minute rule. So when you don't feel like starting, promise yourself that you will work only 5 minutes. And most of the time, getting started is just the hardest part. So once you're moving, that momentum will take over and you probably do more than 5 minutes. But just promise yourself 5 minutes, it's okay. Number two, break your big goals into tiny steps. So don't write, for example, write a book. Write, okay, I will write one paragraph. Or don't write, oh, I will lose 30 pounds. Write something like, go for a 15-minute walk today. Small action will remove that feeling of being overwhelmed. Number three, do the hardest task first. I know there's a book in French, it's called Avaler le crapaud. I think it's Eat the Frog. In English. That's exactly that. Each morning, ask yourself what is that one thing that you've been avoiding the most, and you start there. So start with the frog. Do the hardest task first, so everything else will feel easier afterward during your day. Number four, stop waiting for motivation. Motivation will always follow action, so it rarely comes before it. So take that one step and then another, and the motivation will come with those actions. And number five, celebrate progress, not perfection. So at the end of the day, you can ask yourself, did I move forward today? Not was I perfect? Because every small victory will build that confidence that will create momentum for you. So of course, at the end of the day, you just want to realize that one day you will either say, oh, I'm so glad that I started. Maybe not perfect, but I'm so glad that I started. Or maybe one day you will say, I wish I had started sooner. So the choice is yours. Which one you will say one day? Will it be, I'm so glad that I started, or I wish I had started sooner? So when you have that in mind, oh, maybe you will have that motivation coming back, woo, and you will be in action right now instead of saying, oh, maybe tomorrow, oh, next Monday, oh no, next month, oh no, I wait, it's not the perfect timing yet. Nada. Start now so you don't have to say, I wish I had started sooner. So on that, I wish you a beautiful day, a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.